Estuary news tonight, a major new development for Scunthorpe, a U-turn on a rail link in East Yorkshire and exploring the city of culture on wheels. And later in tonight's programme, our weekly roundup of Hull 2017 news courtesy of our very own Michelle. Before that, tips on how to look after our canine friends in summer with Joe Wood. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Thursday's programme with me, Luke Adams. First tonight, North Lincolnshire Council are investing £16 million into Scunthorpe's town centre. The regeneration project will consist of a new NHS facility, a university centre, refurbishment for the town's library and 60 new homes. Job creation and investment in the local economy are key aims of the project. Fred McNamara brings us tonight's top story.
Scunthorpe Town Centre is set to benefit from a £60 million investment from North Lincolnshire Council. The project would include a new £15 million university centre, £3.9 million to provide 60 new homes on Lindham Street, a £14.7 million accommodation facility for NHS employees, and a £1 million refurbishment for the town's library. The project will also see 200 jobs created and £1.5 million invested into the local economy.
Well, we know we've got really strong housing need locally, particularly around the town centre, because we know that there's older people and younger people both like to be on the edge of the town centre, and then being here means that they can live longer, independent, supported lives for older people, and obviously younger people like to be in the mix of some of the nighttime economy and those sorts of things too. But also at the same time, we know that we need to maintain and improve our footfall, and we've got free car parking. That's a big boost. Over 1 million new tickets were issued last year, but at the same time recognising that footfall comes from professional sectors, professional communities. So we will have 1,000 plus new workers in the town centre from the middle of next year, being part of the vibrant community that we want our town centre to be, whilst at the same time acknowledging it's good for regeneration, it's good for jobs, and we're supporting local businesses.
The first project to get underway is a new HQ for housing provider Ongo Homes, who are using British Steel and local contractors Britcon to bring their new HQ to life.
The building that's going to house us and be the new home for all of the Ongo staff is going to be a significant building right in the heart of Scunthorpe Town Centre and going to kick-start this regeneration project. We as a company are committed to North Lincolnshire. We've always said that, and our ethos is about reinvesting back into the community. So when we had this opportunity to be part of this regeneration project, it fitted perfectly with our values as an organisation, and we're really pleased to be the first company in North Lincolnshire to show that real commitment, and we hope that other businesses will follow in our lead and also invest in the way that we are doing. The most beneficial thing for us is that we're putting Ongo and its headquarters right in the heart of Scunthorpe Town Centre. It's where our tenants are, it's where people can easily reach us, it's where our partners work, but also it shows our commitment to North Lincolnshire as a company who is happy and ready to invest in the town centre.
Further projects will be unveiled in the near future, which could involve business opportunities for retail and leisure in the town centre.
Well, I think we'll start to see, coming the end of the summer, we'll start to see other projects starting to emerge. Some of them clearly are commercial undertakings. People want to make sure that they unveil them just at the right time, and we're really keen that we keep the momentum around the town centre, building confidence, showing retailers that there's a strong hope and there's a strong chance that you'll get more footfall. We want to encourage private sector investment to the area, and we also want to deliver on some of this housing as well. The whole premise behind this investment is about making sure that we've got jobs locally. It's about making sure we encourage people to come and live in the town centre, and there's a range of people who can benefit from that, but at the same time it's about sending a strong message. We're about business, we're about jobs, and we're about making sure that this economy in our county town is as strong as it possibly can be.
This regeneration of Scunthorpe hopes to make the town a more attractive and prosperous city to live in for residents both new and old. From McNamara, Estuary News.
A former business leader is due in court tomorrow after he left a teenager for dead. 64-year-old Owen Finn, a former president of Hull and Humber Chamber of Commerce, left 16-year-old Keenan Roberts in the road with serious life-threatening injuries last October. He remains in hospital. The teenager was cycling along Brantingham Road in Ellerton when he was on his way home from work when he was struck by Finn's car. Mr. Finn was driving under the influence of alcohol after leaving a chamber function near South Cave. He admitted to a number of offences offences, including causing serious injury by dangerous driving, and will be sentenced tomorrow. Plans to scrap a vital rail link could be given a U-turn after a public outcry from travellers. Northern Rail recently announced plans to axe Beverley's direct train service to Doncaster and Sheffield as part of a shake-up of revised timetables for next May. It would increase journey times by up to 25 minutes. More than 400 people have signed a petition to save the service, which has forced the train operator to rethink its decision. A spokesperson for Northern said the service may be kept subject to agreement from Network Rail. The former chief executive of Hull Royal Infirmary has set up a consultancy to advise the NHS. Philip Morley was at the centre of bullying allegations and resigned from the trust in 2014. The Hull North MP, Diana Johnson, has criticised Mr Morley's new position, claiming the hospital was in a terrible state upon his resignation. Now, Hull is set to join the likes of London and Edinburgh with open-top bus tours around the city. The Hull Explorer will take visitors on a tour of some of the city centre sites, including the Cenotaph, the Wilberforce Monument and the Marina. A tour guide will tell the story of the city. The tour bus will have 6 journeys a day on Thursdays through to Mondays and starts next week.
I think it's great. I mean, the staff that have been on it, and a lot of them are from Hull long-standing. They said they found out things about Hull they didn't know about before. I certainly have, even on today's quick run round. And I think it's great. It's a different view of the city. I mean, the ground level stuff is fine, great, but you see so much more from the top of a bus. Be it the closed-top bus or the open-top bus, of course, as well. But this one really does give you a new view of the city, for residents as well as visitors, I hasten to add. I'm sure a lot of our residents haven't seen some of the city that we saw today. Well, I love the old town. I mean, the High Street bit, I know we had difficulty getting through today because of the cars and vans parked, but it's great down there. Fascinating history to it. And the Wilberforce Monument you see from a new perspective as well. And I learned something. I knew it had been moved from Monument Bridge, which is why it's called Monument Bridge, of course. But I didn't know when. So 1934, that's a new little fact I got tucked away from today's trip round.
Now, as the hot weather approaches, our canine friends will no doubt need some TLC to tell me how they can be best looked after in the summer sun. I'm delighted to welcome my first guest tonight, Jo Wood of Doggy Dan. Good evening, Jo. Welcome to the programme. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank
no
you.
dog, I see.
No dog with me
but
tonight,
a fountain of all knowledge.
Yes, definitely.
So, firstly, why is it important for dogs to be kept cool in the summer sun?
Well, dogs don't sweat the way that people do, so dogs will pant, and obviously that area of the mouth isn't as big as the whole of your body for that heat to escape, so they get a lot hotter than we do. And really, they're wearing a fair coat, so it's like wearing your winter coat throughout the summer months, and it can be quite hard work if you're in a hot place, particularly in a car, for example.
Why is it imperative that a dog is not kept in a car for a prolonged period of time? Because often I see dogs, when I'm out and about reporting as a journalist, dogs are kept in the car. Why is that? Why shouldn't that be done? It's
very dangerous. It's different for us. If you're driving along, you've got the aircon on, it's nice and cool in the car, that's fine. But when people leave the dog in the car and go shopping, I actually conducted an experiment myself yesterday.
Okay.
I got in my car, I opened the window about that much, which if you've got a small dog, you can't do much more than that because the dog could escape. And I turned off the aircon, turned off the engine, and I sat there with my telephone to get the temperature outside and the actual garden thermometer for the temperature inside. In no time at all, the heat went from 20 degrees outside to 35 degrees inside the car. And I'm talking minutes. If you imagine doing that in your winter coat, I was in a t-shirt, that was bad enough. But if you're doing that in your winter coat with no access to cool air, maybe no water, then in no time at all you've overheated. It's very dangerous for dogs.
So under no circumstances keep a dog in a car?
Not really, unless it's seconds really. If you're just running into the shop and out, that's fine. But if you're going to be going like full shop around the supermarket, that's not a good idea. One of the strap lines really is not long, is too long.
Absolutely.
Very dangerous.
Okay, let's bear that in mind. Jo, tell me about the paw test.
The paw test, yeah. Now, obviously, the heat affects lots of other things as well. So if you wanted to take your dog for a walk, if you've tried walking on hot sand when you're on holiday, you can know how quite painful that can be.
Painful.
If you can place your hand on the concrete of the floor for 5 seconds and that's comfortable, then that's fine for your dog. If within that 5 seconds you're starting to think, oh, maybe not, then the dog shouldn't be walking
So
on
that
there.
really has the same impact for a dog in the same way it would have for us as humans.
Yes,
on our
it's very,
feet, bare
it will
feet.
scorch the pads, and then it's very painful. You wouldn't want to be walking on blistered feet yourself. So the best thing is to keep them inside until it's cooler later in the day. Walk them on grass if you can. Just make sure that you're not over-exercising them when it's too hot.
So just having general awareness all round, you know,
That's
in
right,
these,
really,
in these
it is.
forthcoming summer months.
Definitely. I mean, other things to be aware of, things like sunscreen. People think of sunscreen for us, but if you get a white dog, often around the nose and around the ears, they can have very thin, pale skin.
Okay.
And you can put sunscreen on there. If you just get factor 50 for kiddies, just rub that into their ears and on the nose. Obviously careful of their eyes.
Okay.
Just helps to stop them getting skin cancer in the same way that we can.
Okay.
So it's very good for them.
Joe, muzzles.
Yes, muzzles. I wanted to mention this, didn't I? Because if a dog wants to pant, obviously if they're wearing a muzzle around the face, they can't necessarily open the mouth properly. Now, if they can't pant, they can't sweat. They're going to overheat.
Okay.
And in no time at all, the dog will keel over and collapse, possibly even die. So be very aware of
So
that.
the summer sun can have catastrophic consequences
It can,
for our
yeah.
friends.
And obviously there's nothing nicer than playing in the sun with your dog. It's a lovely thing to do in the park, you know, by the water, the lake and so on. But do that in an evening. Try not to do it in the mad dog's an Englishman. Out in the midday sun is a very apt saying, really.
Wonderful.
So keep dogs where it's cool later in the day.
Joe, we must leave it there, but let's hope our dogs enjoy the summer sun as much as us. Thank you
Excellent.
very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you.
Join me after the break when Jack brings us a roundup of all the latest sporting action and Michelle with her weekly digest of Hull 2017 news. Welcome back. Still to come this Thursday evening, sports news with Jack and more of the day's news in brief. And I'm joined now by our very own Michelle Lalor with the latest news from City of Culture. Good evening,
Hello
Michelle.
there.
Welcome to the
Hello.
programme. Happy
Thank you.
Thursday.
And you, and you.
What gems have you unearthed
Right,
from the City
okay.
of Culture for us this
Well,
week?
I dug into the City of Culture website and came up with 3 or 4 gems actually for kind of summer holidays into August, which is quite nice. The first one being a star from our younger years. It's
Okay.
amazing how these people re-emerge. Sophie Alex-Bextor, we'll remember her, Murder on the Dance Floor.
Huge fan. I have that very album, which was
sure you
released back
do.
in 2001.
Excellent. Well, she released a new single last year, but actually she is going to open the Cottingham Folk Festival
Okay.
on August the 24th at Cottingham Civic Hall.
So is that the bank holiday weekend in August?
Possibly
I
is,
think
unless it's the
it
week
is, or
after.
the
I'm
weekend
not
after.
sure actually, but I don't know how long the festival goes on for. That'll all be on the website. But it just struck me that somebody who was pop, really, isn't it, is now opening a folk
Yes.
festival. So how things, their taste, their musical
Yeah.
taste change.
So
really.
is she regarded more now as a folk singer?
I guess she must do. Yes, she had as I say, she released something last year which wasn't pop, which was produced by somebody who's big, I think, in that world. So obviously has gone into that vein, and I'm not even sure how old she will be now, actually, to be honest.
I'm
but
going to estimate, to be polite,
Go on.
40s.
Well, she doesn't look a day older on the promo material that I've seen, actually, for the folk festival. So it's either very good airbrushing or she's got very good skin.
I think it could be a bit of both. I mean, she's very
Bit of both.
chic, is
Very,
Sophie
isn't she?
Alex-Bextor,
Very
and
classy.
elegant. A bit like
I
yourself,
think
Michelle.
not, I think, and of course her mum was a former Blue Peter presenter.
The lovely Janet
You may know.
Ellis.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, so there you go.
So a little bit like Kylie then, no surname required. Sophie, again, no surname required. She's one of these artists who's reinvented herself to maybe
Would seem
keep
to.
up with current music trends.
You would think so, and maybe gone with her time. Maybe she feels she's slightly older now. She doesn't want to be that pop person, so maybe she's kind of been true to herself as well, which is actually quite nice to see, isn't it?
Absolutely.
In that world.
Oh, well, we'll welcome
Yes.
Sophie with open arms to our
Absolutely.
area in August.
Yes, in August the
Fantastic.
24th, she's opening the folk festival.
Excellent. Michelle,
Yeah.
what else have you found, please?
Right, we've got another one that caught my eye for August. Actually, was something called a floating cinema, which I thought was quite a
I've
nice
heard about
idea.
this. Yes. So
I've
where is
seen
it going
them.
to be floating?
Well, apparently it's going to be floating in Hull Marina from Monday, August the 7th until Thursday, August the 10th.
Okay.
And one of the things on there is actually a piece of art or a new commission which is inspired by East Yorkshire and Lincolnshire.
Right.
So actually, as well as showing films, it's going to show new commissions and new film programming. You're not going to see Star Wars on there, I don't think. So
no classic films
I don't
like
think it's
Shirley
that.
Valentine or The Full Monty?
No, we're not going to see any of those. It seems to be, from reading it, shorter commissions and new pieces of work.
But a great way to showcase new,
wonderful,
and emerging talent.
Yeah, and what a good idea. You know,
Yeah.
to have cinema in different mediums and in different ways.
And that will be in August as well.
That's in August as well. That's from August the 7th until August the 10th, which scarily isn't too long away now, is it? So
the City of Culture is going
flying.
phenomenally quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Phenomenally quick.
Yes.
So have you found another event for
And
August?
we've got another one actually. I thought another thing actually which is going on, it's a longer term, it's shows that are going on, and to get the full details of them, go onto the website because there's so many.
Okay.
But I thought it was worth mentioning because it's important to understand that I think the City of Culture is not just about people who like culture, it's actually to develop people in Hull and to help people in Hull. And this is called Mad Pride.
Okay.
I don't know whether you've mentioned it before, you may have done on the show.
No, but it sounds intriguing.
It's a series of events and workshops that have a vision to use art and culture to break down the barriers of mental health.
Fantastic.
Which is big in the news at the moment with Prince Harry
very
and
topical,
everything.
Yes, absolutely.
And they're doing puppet shows, lots of creative issues to actually bring people out of themselves and to actually highlight the issues that are there and the issues that people have. Lots of different events going on, some in Brandsome, some on the estate, some in the city centre, so it's worth going onto the website and having a look. A lot of them I think are free as well.
Even better.
So I actually thought that was actually really showed the benefit, the maybe long-lasting benefit that this City of Culture year will have.
Absolutely, and it's so as we've just said there, it's a great way of reaching out to perhaps isolated communities and those who necessarily don't appreciate the arts and culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's part of the message what the whole City of Culture year has tried to showcase, that art and culture is on our doorstep and it can reach out to people from all walks of life.
Yeah, especially in a city like Hull, I think, which wasn't, as we said before, particularly famous for its culture, to show that it is there and people can be helped by it.
Absolutely.
So I thought that was actually quite an important one for people to know about.
Well highlighted. Thank you very much indeed, Michelle. And always great with mental health. Always great mental health.
Absolutely, yeah.
Any cheesecakes?
We haven't got any cheesecakes. We didn't think of a word, did we? We must reveal actually that was the word that we said we'd try and get in last week, and we didn't. We haven't done it this week. So maybe next week we should have a word and people need to guess the word.
Absolutely. Yes, we'll invite them in.
The random word.
Wonderful. Michelle, always a pleasure. See you next Thursday. Thank you very much indeed. Essential Roadworks will start next week in East Yorkshire. The 20-week scheme will see improvement works along the C8 road between North Cave and Market Wheaton. Traffic will be diverted via the A1034 South Cave at Sancton and the A1079 Market Wheaton route. It's part of East Yorkshire Council's programme of highway maintenance works. A 24-hour road closure will be in place during the period of the scheme. Due to the nature of the work involved, it starts on Monday. More doggy news now, as bigger fines are set to be imposed on irresponsible dog owners across East Lindsey. The new order by the District Council includes banning dogs from the main beaches at Sutton-on-Sea, Skegness and Mablethorpe from the 1st of May to the 30th of September, and not placing a dog on a lead when requested by enforcement officers in all public open spaces. If in breach, dog owners could face a fine of £100. It comes into effect on the 1st of October. Now, from dogs to sport, here's Jack.
Grimsby Town and Scunthorpe United have this afternoon contested the second round of the Lincolnshire Senior Club at Bundle Park. Town ran out 4-0 winners against a Scunthorpe side mainly made up of youth teamers, as they have had a quick turnaround to deal with, having played York City last night. Goals from Adi Youssef and Andrew Boyce and trialists Harry Cardwell and Brandon Robinson gave the Mariners a convincing win. Amongst Russell Slade's sides were trialists defender Paul Dixon, midfielder Kamal A. Al-Hajj and the aforementioned Robinson. As mentioned before, Scunthorpe United played York City last night in a pre-season friendly. The teams played out a 2-2 draw. The Scunthorpe goals were scored by Neil Bishop and Akib Adi Lacoon. Boss Graham Alexander was happy with the players' mindset in the game, but says the side need to work exceptionally hard on fitness and tactics going forward. Meanwhile, Hull City's under-23s have added 2 players to their ranks, with the signings of forward Tom Powell and defender James Yates. Powell has signed from League One Wigan Athletic on a 2-year deal, while Yates has put pen to paper on a 1-year deal following a successful trial at the club. who was previously part of the youth system at Everton. Northampton United continued their pre-season preparations last night at home to Leeds United. Recently signed goalkeeper Ross Durant made his first appearance for the Villagers. The visitors came in with a 2-0 victory thanks to goals from Marcus Antonsen and Kemar Roof. Despite the defeat, manager Steve Howsham thought his side could take lots of positives away from the game and believes it was a really good physical workout for his players. A select Thurrockbeat 11 head to Barton Town this evening. Rugby now, and Hull FC are likely to be without Albert Kelly for tomorrow's game at Leeds. The halfback injured himself in last week's defeat to St Helens. Meanwhile, Radford says he won't hold back on selecting his strongest lineup for the game. That's despite the two sides facing off again in just a fortnight's time in the Challenge Cup semi-finals. Radford says he's resisted shuffling his pack.
Picking a side, I'm mixing some things up, trying to get a revival this week, and we'll see if that works. But we could have been playing Batley Bulldogs and I'd have made them decisions. So I hadn't had any influence on how I've gone about it. I want to win and worry about the semi in 2 weeks' time. Ultimately, and want to win against Huddersfield as well prior to that. So no, I'm not holding anything. They've been kept under the table, that is for sure.
Across the city, and Hull KR's Nick Scruton says the team aren't reading anything into weekend opponents Toulouse's recent poor form. The French side are winless in 4 and go into the game at the Craven Park against the Robins, who are unbeaten in 8 and 7 points clear at the top of the table. It has also been announced that KR will receive the League Leaders' Shield after Sunday's game, as they cannot mathematically be knocked off the top spot. And that's all for the sport.
Thanks very much, Jack. That's it for tonight. As always, if you have a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages or email news@estuary.tv. You can also phone our news desk, which is Grimsby number 01472315553, or put pen to paper and write to us at the usual address. The details are on the screen now. As always, we look forward to hearing from you. On tomorrow night's show, I'll be reviewing the week's local papers with our good friend, Dr. Alec Gill, MBE. His recent exhibition of Hesel Road in Hull during the 70s attracted over 8,000 visitors to the Hull History Centre in June. What a success. Until tomorrow, from all of us on the team, have a great Thursday evening.